Solo is the worst Star Wars movie ever created.
I just when I watch Return of the Jedi.
Mandalorian has crafted and developed into some of the best Star Wars ever. I love the prequels. I'm a big fan of the prequels. Talk about a great story. A former stormtrooper that becomes a Jedi? Some things are better left unsaid and unexplained. Ooh, how does a Jedi or a Sith, where do they get their power from? Favreau and Filoni need to be in charge of all creative.
I was more interested in learning more about Kira and Maul's relationship than anything else with Han.
It just goes to show what having people on the same page does to a cohesive story.
Sebastian Stan would crush it, I feel like, as Luke.
And I'm really excited.
Hello, hello, hello. I almost nailed the intro that time. Almost. Almost nailed the intro. I did not nail the intro that time. Almost. Still got that, like, little bit of flash of black in there to not make it smooth. Almost. Almost. By the way, how cool is this freaking shirt? Nikki got me this shirt for Father's Day. How cool is that? So cool. What's up, y'all? There's like, I have 3 of these now. I have a Tatooine one, a Mustafar one, and an Alderaan one. I want all the planets. I think it'd be so much fun.
Right on top of that.
Nikki, say hi.
Hi, Nikki.
How's the music today? How's the music today? How's everything looking, sounding? Where'd you get it from?
Etsy.
Etsy. Kashyyyk? That'd be fun.
They have literally.
They have every shirt.
I will show you.
Music's good. Cool. Hey, if you love coffee, go get some Madrinas. They've got like big giant like sample packs and stuff.
The Etsy shop name is Sleep Whale.
Sleep oil?
Sleep Whale.
Sleep whale.
Hold on,
Hashtag not sponsored.
Let me go into the chat. Please hold.
Mordor. I wonder if they have Mordor. That'd be kind of fun.
They have, yeah, he makes.
They got Lord of the Rings and stuff too?
Right, well, oh, sorry. I thought that was.
Mordor is not a world in Star Wars.
My bad.
Alright, they're loud already.
Kids.
Gonna go shut that shit down.
Shush.
Summer break, summer break.
They have Hoth, Scarif, Endor.
Scarif would be cool. I loved the Battle of Scarif. That was cool.
Dagobah,
Dagobah,
whatever. Naboo. They have stickers too. Annie makes cups. Dathomir, Camino, whatever that is. Bespin.
Alright, they're gonna have to get put in check.
Coruscant. I don't know, whatever that is.
Coruscant?
Whatever! I don't know!
Oh my god!
What it is!
Let's start off the stream right by hearing everyone's favorite
What was that
national
one?
anthem
They have
of
Moss
the
Espa.
channel, Solo.
Warning, Solo sucks rant.
Sorry!
Warning, Solo sucks rant. Warning, Solo sucks rant. Warning, Solo sucks rant.
Worst Star Wars movie ever created. And by the way, I'm gonna run with a child under my coat while the alarms are blaring. When did Leia get an electrical engineering degree? I don't know. I don't have that answer. I don't know. I can't wait to break down this episode, though. I am very much looking forward to this. Easily the best episode of the series so far. It still has its flaws, of course, and we'll talk about that. But If you guys do have comments or questions, and again, it's just the way it goes, super chats are the best way. You'll get your comment verbally read out, not only on stream, but on the video that I edit and post for my Star Wars channel. That is getting a rebranding. Leia just plugged a USB stick into a hole. How should she even know how to do that? Like, come on. You don't have Disney Plus, so thanks for your reaction videos. You can see what everyone else is talking about. That's cool. I feel like through our edits, and I don't know if the creators of the shows would actually like this, but I think you could watch our reaction videos and pretty much get the entire gist of the show through that episode.
What is this one?
Octu.
Jakku.
She's Anakin Skywalker's daughter. She can fix anything she wants. Sure. Okay. See, I don't like that comment. I don't like that comment. I've read and watched pretty much everything Star Wars a few times over except Solo, probably because of... No! Go watch it and get your own opinion. Do not let my feelings ever deter you from wanting to watch something. Or getting your... Don't ever rely on my opinion. I take things way too seriously. It's a fun flick. It's just a bad Star Wars movie. What's up, X Cases? Gaming at night? Probably not. No. We gotta watch another Stranger Things episode. And I am pretty tired. I'm not feeling tired now, because I'm energized to talk about this show. But staying up till 4 a.m., getting up. I got a little bit of sleep, so that's good. Got up. What else did I do? I got up, I got Stranger Things posted. Prepped for this stream. Solo's the only Star Wars movie you've seen? Yikes. I could hear little one very clearly. What is happening out there?
They're playing right in...
Can they, like, play downstairs?
In the oldest one's room. It's just the... Yeah.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna get hit with the sleepy train later. And I'll get a nap in before we watch Stranger Things. Like, it's okay if opinions influence people on some things and some things to extent, I think. Yes, but even if your favorite creator says don't watch this, I don't think anybody should do that, first of all. Everyone is different. I think that's what makes fans of content so great. I didn't get the member thing posted, Miles. I was slammed. No one should ever tell you not to watch something. I think you should always get your own, because again, and this kind of... I got a really mean tweet today. I thought it's mean if you read it, but it makes me laugh. Someone called me a whining and childish for criticizing a show. And if there's... Outside of the people... Hello? Voice crack? Outside of the people who attack the actors, who I wouldn't even classify those people as Star Wars fans, because those people are just garbage people, and I don't know if you could even classify them as fans of anything. They're just really bad people. Outside of the people who attack the actors, the fans who put fans in quotes are the problem with the Star Wars fandom. I get so fired up at the idea of gatekeeping, of you can only consume content one way. Don't tell people how to consume content. If people want to criticize stuff till it's over, let them criticize it till it's over. If they don't backpedal and correct their opinion, then that's a them problem, not a you problem. I can't stand people who can't let people react, respond, criticize, analyze stuff if they're doing it in a constructive way. It has to be constructive. Like, there are people who love Solo. Cool. Like, that doesn't impact my decision or my opinion of the show or the movie. I think it's the worst, and I have a lot of valid reasons to back up my feelings. But don't ever tell people that they're wrong in feeling a certain way as long as they're doing it the right way. I can't stand that. And the moment you put fans in quotations, you're out. You're immediately out of the conversation. You are not a real fan. Like, that kind of criticism puts a really bad mark on you. I don't like that at all. Fans should be able to discuss and have conversations with each other and not call each other names and just share opinions about content. Putting fans in quotes is like one of my biggest pet peeves. I see it all the time on Twitter, and I want to jump in so bad, and I never do because there's no point. There's no point. Please do not react to season 2 of Squid Game. Deal! I mean, people definitely get under, like, there's a level of, obviously we've been doing this for a long time now, so the attacks or the mean comments, you get used to it to a certain extent, but there are certain things that'll never be okay, and they're absolutely triggering. But when someone on Twitter, here, let me read the tweet. I think it's really funny. They tweeted at the Nikki Steven Twitter, which you should go follow. Nikki Steve React. There's no N in Steven. Star Wars fans have really helped me trim the reactors that I watch. Steven equals whiny, impatient baby. I clicked unsubscribe and told YouTube to not recommend their channel anymore when he whined the music isn't good enough, which it isn't. The music is pretty bad in the show. The Imperial March is Vader's theme. Vader wasn't there. And first of all, if you're going to come at me, do your homework first. It is not Vader's theme. The Imperial March is for the Empire. And weird, the Imperials were marching to take over an area. Weird, it would have been a really, really easy thing to use the Imperial March there. And I get it, we don't hear it until Empire Strikes Back, but, you know, Rogue One used a version of that song. There's ways to use versions of the song to still make it sound good and important and powerful and emotional. The music in this show is not hitting. What is a fan? Just because you like something, that doesn't make you a fan. I mean, just because you criticize something doesn't mean you're not a fan. I'm critical of the things that I love most. You're right in almost everything you find wrong or could be better with Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I feel like whether I'm right or wrong, that doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's the fact that, like, can I actually, instead of just being like, oh, that sucks, that's stupid, like, I try to explain my reasons why, you know? I replied to that tweet, yes. And some other folks saw that and also replied. Would you take out Ewoks if you could rewrite the script? I liked what I heard was the original plan for that whole Endor scene, because originally it was supposed to be Wookiees, which I don't think big giant scary Wookiees would sell as much merch as cute little Ewoks, so I get it. But don't need the same themes every time something related happens. It's the point of themes. It doesn't need to play every time, but there are definite moments that requires that big oomph in music. That's where all the emotion comes from. The story on top of the music is what makes grown ass people sob like little kids. It's like if they play some random generic song, if we get this final Vader Kenobi fight, that'll be a letdown. It has to be Duel of Fates. You gotta give it to us. Star Wars is so popular that it's never gonna live up to each generation's nostalgia. People need to understand that. On the flip side, to play devil's advocate, we should 100% hold the creators of this content to a very high standard because of how important it is to people. You think they'll keep the big music for the finale, so we'll just use shitty, generic, crappy, unemotional music for the first 5 episodes? I don't like that idea. I mean, if they put Duel of Fates in the trailer and then not the show, that'd be upsetting. That'd be disappointing. Disney gets a lot of hate though because of how much property. I don't understand the hate in terms of just like, oh, you own so much property. They're on a bad streak of creating content. And it almost feels like the people that they have working on Star Wars and even these MCU shows, like I don't think these MCU shows are anything to go crazy about. But I just feel like it's people doing a job versus passionate people who know the product making content that they love. Like the main writer for Kenobi didn't have full knowledge of Revenge of the Sith. Like, how is that even possible? Is that just a dude that's hired to write a show? I don't understand that. What's up, Gaming Circuit? Live question. Small Ewoks knocking out troopers are canon. If canon is super important, shouldn't it be okay for Tala can... Well, yeah, I call that out too. I think it's stupid that anybody could just bonk a stormtrooper in the head. It's awful. It makes no sense. If I was doing a live reaction to Return of the Jedi, I would say the same exact thing. But that's not the case. I think some of the writing in the show is weak. Yeah. I mean, the fact that the writer had to ask questions like, is it okay that we talk about Obi-Wan knowing that Vader is Anakin? Like, that's not something that a writer of a Star Wars property should be asking. The writer of a Star Wars property should literally know all the ins and outs of the Clone Wars, the prequels, all of it. They shouldn't have to ask... what's his name? Pablo Hidalgo, if like, oh, does Obi-Wan know that Anakin was Vader? Like, that shouldn't be like, you shouldn't have to clear that idea. And you should know that Obi-Wan didn't know that he was dead. Like, there's small things like that. Rebels, yeah, Rebels too. Like, that's the kind of stuff as passionate Star Wars, like, the fans shouldn't be more passionate than the creators. It should at least be like on the same type of level, which, I mean, it's always going to be hard, but I know Favreau, Filoni are extremely passionate about Star Wars. I know Bryce Dallas Howard is passionate about Star Wars. She's fantastic. I don't know how much Kathleen Kennedy loves Star Wars. I don't think Rian Johnson loves Star Wars. I think JJ liked Star Wars. I mean, there's a lot of convenient writing in this. It's hard when you're coming off shows like Better Call Saul and like Black Sails, because those shows are always going to like basically squash anything else in terms of writing, anything else. So it's always hard. Any plans to take the family to Disneyland to check out Galaxy's Edge? Maybe one day. Not a huge fan of Disneyland. We've taken the kids like twice, but it was before Galaxy's Edge. Star Wars has always had wonky and... Yeah, wonky and silly is fine until it starts fucking up the story and making the story look stupid. It's not the silly, like an example of Kenobi and Leia walking through a lobby of Imperials and Inquisitors with her under a jacket. Like, that's not... See, that might come across as silly to some. I thought that was just dumb. The silly and wonky writing is what makes it fun. It just can't overtake the story. It can't be so like... You can't have a line like, oh, revenge is the key to like living, and then let the person who betrayed you live. Like, that's bad writing, which we'll talk about. Like, that's an example of that. If you agreed with me that Ryan is a passionate creator based on your reactions to his other works, then why would he make The Last Jedi and end it with Luke inspiring all the characters if he hates Star Wars? Did you see the way he responds? Like, he doesn't understand. If you don't understand certain things, I don't know if you could officially love it. But, like, I don't know where this inspiration of all characters comes from. Did you watch the prequels? There were 1,000 kids with lightsabers learning to be Jedi. Like, this idea isn't, like, new. Rian Johnson didn't come up with the idea that everyone could be a Jedi. But I love Rian Johnson as a creator outside of Star Wars. I think he's great. Watch Miss Marvel episode 2 and find the actress playing Kamala Khan is adorable. I haven't watched episode. I'll hopefully probably watch it in my downtime later. I mean, basically going rogue and making his own movie within the trilogy, just proof that he doesn't care. I feel like bringing back the Emperor in episode 9 defeated the plot points of Anakin fulfilling... I 1,000,000% disagree with that. The prophecy was never a forever thing. I think there were better options than Palpatine, but this idea that Palp never had like this contingency plan to live forever, which he did, and actually fulfilling it, like Luke's representation at the end of the movie, you mean where he died? Be more specific. What do you mean his Luke's representation at the end? He brought back balance of the Force, and history repeated itself. I have no problem with it. Was the execution wasn't great, but on the surface, I don't mind. Ryan made a sequel to Luke Walked Away. You're hand plucking one line from someone who wasn't there. Go check out my reasons why Luke's character doesn't work in The Last Jedi video. Exclamation point Star Wars will take you there. Hello, Jothan. Jothan? Luke's representation, his agent. Oh, it's you. Okay. I recognize the name now, yes. You wrote like a giant essay underneath that video. Yeah, we're not diving into that anymore. Your thoughts on directors for Obi-Wan? Deborah Chow? I mean, the direction has been okay. I don't think it's lived up to her episodes of Mandalorian. A Boba Fett movie, which I think is kind of dumb. Well, what's his name wants to show the real Boba Fett. So it would make sense that they'd make something. Because clearly he didn't like the portrayal of Boba Fett in his own show. Because that show was fairly pointless. The character... These up here? A community member. Bag, he's awesome. Rogue One. Rogue One's in my top 5. The final act of Rogue One is some of my favorite Star Wars, and I think, well, now it's debatable if it's the best Vader scene, but one of my favorite Vader scenes of all time, at the time, the best Vader scene of all time. And I think, in my opinion, the best space battle is in Rogue One. I love it. I think it's a perfect example to show that just because we know the fate of characters doesn't mean the story has to be weak and predictable and kind of silly. Any idea why the music in Obi-Wan is not as impactful as we want it to be? I don't know. I think it's one of the weakest parts of the show for sure. I don't know if there's a reason why, but... Did you just say something good about the original trilogy? Oh my god. It's amazing. I think Favreau and Filoni should... I don't think that they were in their positions of power when Obi-Wan was basically all fleshed out. I think that was before that they had their big kind of whatever positions they're in now. I think Filoni was on set, or was Favreau on set? One of them was on set to help, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they were like, by the time like the script and everything was written, I don't think they were as involved then. It's not John Williams' score, but is there a reason why they're not using it? Is it like a money thing? Is it like gonna poop on George Lucas type of stuff thing? I don't know. Didn't they originally have a plan to release Star Wars movies? It's gonna be like 5-year gap, I think, between Star Wars movies. Riva might be important later. So what? I think that's the whole complaint about Riva as a character. Mandalorian scored, not John Williams. It's still, yeah. I mean, again, it's an example to go show that you don't need just John Williams to make Star Wars music. The music in Mandalorian is awesome. Are they gonna make another trilogy after the one with Rey? I hope not. But I would imagine maybe down the road they'll do another trilogy to I mean, the Skywalker saga is supposed to be over, so I don't know. And since she's a Skywalker, that would mean her story should be over. We need new shit. As hit or miss as Taika Waititi is for me, I am very excited to see what he brings to the table. Riva is overhated and underrated. Both of those. Everything you just said is false. Outside of like the racist shit that she's dealing with, which again, I don't think those are actual Star Wars. I will not ever label those type of people Star Wars fans. The people who criticize the character, she's not that well written. She's taken so much screen time away from Kenobi and Anakin. The critiques are fine as long as you're not attacking the actor. If you're not going after Moses, fine. Don't do that. But if you have legitimate gripes with the character, that the show is titled Kenobi, and most of the show has been about chasing around Leia and saving her, and then Riva's developed, like, her involvement in, like, episode 4, like, most of it was spent Riva interrogating Leia. Like, I understand why people would be upset about that. I think she's interesting. I'm intrigued by her, especially after this episode. But the people who aren't just spewing hate and have legitimate criticisms, I think they're valid. And again, it goes back to the idea, let people have their complaints. She 1,000,000% should have been killed in this episode. 1,000,000%. I mean, trilogies are fine. If you attack an actor or actress, you lose all respect. If you do that, then you're... That's a really nice way to say it. You're losing all respect. I despise you as a human being. Why didn't Vader kill her? I don't know. Because writing. Like, Vader has a history of just not giving a fuck and slaying Inquisitors. But he decides to let this one go after really badly sneak attacking him. The Asian actress from The Last Jedi. Yeah, that shit is gross. Don't do that. You can not like Rose as a character. I think Rose as a character ruined one of the best story arcs in the sequel trilogy. But I don't have any... Like, the actor's just doing a job. I mean, my initial reaction when she was kneeling in front of him with the two sabers, I thought he was gonna just... That's what he should have done. I mean, people attacked Anakin's actor, or the kid, Jar Jar's actor, like, people... The Star Wars... The people who call themselves fans and want to harass and send death threats and say horrible, horrible things, those people are not fans. That's the type of toxic shit any community does not need. That's an acceptable moment, in my opinion, to not call someone a fan. She should have been a Ghana. Like in all reality, she should have been like. There's absolutely, and even if Vader didn't do it, the Grand Inquisitor should have done it. Small-minded idiots. Yeah. I thought the reshoots were for the finale. Riva shouldn't be going to Luke. Like, worst case, like, I think of the worst case scenario of that moment, and it completely shatters canon. But let's talk. Let's jump into this. I have like a long script, so let's pound this shit out. Do you think they should make a movie about Lando? No, they ruined Lando. What is it we don't get any? What if we don't get any quiet? I'll be upset. If we weren't going to get Qui-Gon in this season, they should have left that part of the recap video they did at the beginning of episode 1 out. They are doing a Lando series? Dude, they ruined his character in Solo. Vader snaps a child's neck but leaves Riva alive. I don't get it. Yeah. I don't know if that... Because I heard that was happening. I don't know if that's like official. I have a whole script. I think my next scripted video is going to be my version of what I was anticipating with Kenobi. I mean, maybe we could talk about it after. But I want to see how... Actually, the way it ends won't even matter to my script's all about the beginning. So maybe we could go over that and talk about it live. I think that'd be kind of fun. You guys ready to jump into this? We would consider playing the Quarry, yeah. We just don't... We don't have time for game streams right now. Kenobi did not. R2 should be with Bail. Alright, so episode 5 of Kenobi. Overall thoughts, easily my favorite episode of the season. I think it's the best one. I think there are moments that are, again, I still think this show, every episode has suffered from good and bad. I think this show had way more good than bad, and the bad in this episode, it really doesn't bother me that much, but we'll talk about it. I think every single episode has had and has suffered from good and bad. I think some episodes have had more bad than good, and some... Either way, I think this is the best episode. I think it's my favorite episode, and I think a lot of it has to do about the nostalgia. And just jumping right into it, we open up with a shot of Coruscant, which I was just like, oh my god, it's happening. It's finally happening. We're finally getting a flashback with Obi-Wan and Anakin. Check out the hair. You notice the hair? So it's taking place before episode 2, which I thought was really cool. They strike sabers, cut straight to Vader. So awesome. I'm so happy that we're getting Hayden Christensen as Anakin. So cool. I thought that was a great start to the episode. And, you know, I saw a lot of criticism that, like, Hayden looks old. I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's been like, what, 16, 17 years or something? I think he looks fantastic. I thought it looked great. I'm happy they didn't use any de-aging on him. I thought that scene looked like the way they kind of like weaved it through this episode. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was great. It was so good to see them. And obviously as the flashbacks go, they just get better and better and better. And I absolutely loved it. So we're seeing Vader. He calls in Riva, tells her to bow, to kneel. Bend the knee, Riva. Bend the knee to Vader. But tells her to bend the knee. And he names her Grand Inquisitor. Interesting. And I think that's a really big impactful moment for kind of what happens later, because I think it's a really important tell and very important. They set the course for Jabeam, and I thought they were going to be taking Leia home, but I guess they decided to just go straight to Jabeam, not go to Alderaan to drop her off. I was kind of hoping that they would just drop Leia off and like her story would be kind of wrapped up and they would kind of put a bow on that, but not. Instead, they're taking the tracker to Jabeam for a really crazy, absolutely explosive and giant fight. I really thought we'd get more Jedi arriving there. We saw lightsabers, we saw robes, we saw a bunch of stuff there, but no Jedi, unfortunately. Haja's there, a fake Jedi was there, and I thought, like, after thinking about it later and editing and like what he said kind of makes sense. He's basically like feeling like a real Jedi now because he's being hunted by the Empire. I thought it was actually kind of weird that he was there. I don't know. It's kind of like, am I overreaching him as a character? I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting that he was there. But back to Vader and Riva's trying to give Vader input, which initially kind of annoyed me because I'm like, why is he taking, like, Vader? Whatever, it's fine. Vader tells her, she was concerned that they were going to lock the people in and they were going to be able to hunker down and that it was going to be hard to break them that way. And Vader's like, it's not the people that we need to break. It's Kenobi. Kenobi finds another wall with a bunch of writing on it and a bunch of Jedi quotes and stuff written on the wall. And one that he reads out loud, the light will fade, but never forgotten. Another one of those really cool, kind of powerful, overarching story. We see the lightsabers. I am not a lightsaber expert. I didn't recognize any lightsabers. I don't know if there was a Quinlan Vos saber in there or anyone else's saber sitting in there, but there were a lot of sabers sitting in there, and I would have just grabbed one of those and been like, we're fighting? I'm grabbing a saber. Let's go fight. That's what I would have done. So hacked Lola gets into the system and locks everything down, so they're now officially trapped. Vader is here. Kenobi says he has no patience, and to another flashback of training, which I thought was super interesting. Kenobi tells Anakin that he's too aggressive in this flashback. The Jedi goal is to defend life, not take it. And again, I feel like that was the very first seed planted for this episode and where it ends up going. Again, I thought the flashbacks were so good. Anakin responds with, mercy doesn't defeat the enemy, master. Mercy is for the weak. An enemy deserves no mercy. Wait, that's a different... Never mind. That's a different piece of content. I kind of just thought of that when that was happening. Back to Vader. Attack. Back to Vader, and then he orders the attack. And they plan their escape. Very much feels like an escape Empire Strikes Back on Hoth, where they do just enough to kind of like hold them back before they could get out. Kind of felt that way to me. I thought it was kind of interesting. Imperial forces arrive to some soft music, in my opinion. Why not go OG Star Wars? Give us some Imperial March. Imperials marching to go destroy a group of people and start a war. Maybe not the exact Imperial March, because I know we want to keep this idea of it debuting in Empire Strikes Back, but Rogue One used a version of the Imperial March for a very quick shot. There's no reason that they couldn't expand on that. I think the music overall has been... It's been a down part. Like, Star Wars music is some of my favorite music in all of content. Doesn't matter what movie or show. Like, the good Star Wars music is some of the best Star Wars music ever. And I feel like that they really could have gone all in on the music with a Kenobi show. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker. I feel like we could have gone all in on the music. That's just kind of how I feel about it. Doesn't ruin anything completely. I just thought they could go all in. They start blasting the doors in. Leia goes to investigate the issue at the door because she's small and she could go climb through, the areas that the tech is for the door. She could fit and climb through there. Kenobi gets a message from Bail. I thought this was a little weird. I'm not going to lie. I think it's one of those convenient storytelling elements that happened throughout this show. He's worried since there hasn't been any communication. I would probably be like, as a dad, I'd be worried too. Be like, yo, bro, where are you at? I don't know if I would have put as much specific information in my message that Bail Organa did. Bail Organa's a smart dude. He mentions a boy on Tatooine. He mentions Owen. And he's going there. Like, I don't know if I would have put that much information. What if Obi-Wan was dead and the comm device was on him and someone found it? Like, someone ends up finding it. Like, that's a lot of very valuable and top secret information that you just put in a comm device that apparently anybody could just open and listen to the message. I don't know about that. I didn't like that part very much. This is a really powerful moment from Tala where she shares her motives and talks about her reasons for doing what she's doing. Talking about as an Imperial dealing with Force-sensitive families, executing them. She felt hopeless, and that's why she fights against the Empire. I think she mentioned like 16, 17 people died, including a bunch of kids. So, yeah, they went there. She didn't know what was happening, and it kind of played out. And it kind of felt like a Finn moment from Force Awakens, where it's like you're sent to go do a job as a member of the Empire, but then you're like, oh shit, this is what we're doing? Yeah, I don't know if I want to do that. So I'm going to flip the script and go do something else. I think that's a really powerful story because, again, we don't know. Not everyone who works for the Empire is this evil, crazy person who wants to just destroy the universe. There are people in there, they're like soldiers. And I think it was cool to see a Imperial officer flip sides and, do things for the right reasons. Kenobi decides that he wants to negotiate. He wants to go talk to Riva. And this is where we finally get Riva'S backstory, which it was a slow burn. I like slow burns done well. I think it was pretty obvious. Like, once you let a lot of these episodes settle in, the opening scene where they hit us with Order 66, I think it was pretty clear that Riva was one of the younglings. I think that's pretty obvious. They gave us a very specific scene with a very tight focus on a group of younglings. I think it was pretty obvious, but we finally get her full backstory. She was officially revealed to be a youngling at the temple during Order 66 and says Anakin killing and saw Anakin killing everyone. We get a brutal flashback of Anakin killing younglings. We get up close shots of Anakin, his saber struck, just absolutely brutal scene. And it's why we got a little warning off the top of this episode. Very, very triggering scene, very emotional stuff, very hard to watch. When Anakin left, she played dead, which, again, I don't know about that. And says Anakin stole the only family she knew, which I think is going to lead to her ultimate reason for doing whatever she ends up doing in the finale. Kenobi gets out of her that she's hunting Vader, and he's sitting there using the Force, and she could tell because she calls him out on it. But she gets out of her that she's hunting Vader and tries to tell her that, we're here for the same thing. Let's work together. Let's try to get this done. We want the same thing. And she questioned, like, oh, you want Anakin dead. Questions where Kenobi was while all the younglings were being killed. I mean, he was trying to survive Order 66 himself. But I get the question. I get the hatred towards Obi-Wan in this moment for her. I think it makes a lot of sense. Says Anakin was his Padme and asked why he didn't save them. She wants to know why Obi-Wan wasn't there to stop his Padawan from killing everyone. I think that's a really fair question. And I think that's the most obvious. And I think that's ultimately the best reason why she knows who Anakin is. I think it's the best reason for her wanting to do what she is doing. I think of all the different theories and potential reasons for her doing what she's doing, I think that was the best one, and I really dug that part of the story. Riva gets the door open, Kenobi force pushes her away, and the fighting breaks out, and all hell is absolutely breaking loose. Have you seen episode 4 of Stranger Things? Go to the channel. It's on there. Doing multiple things at once. Ned B! Throwing some stormtroopers around. That was dope. He was just friggin' squashing these stormtroopers so good. Tala gets struck. Ned B protects her. and Tala pulls out a thermal detonator and blows a bunch of people up. Pretty emotional, pretty crazy moment. Ned B protecting her so she could pull that out. You're a hero, bro. Way to go, droid. You did good. Vader tells Riva to stand down. Kenobi's already theirs. And here comes another flashback. Their flashbacks, which I thought were really awesome, I think it did two things. I think it almost teases and foreshadows multiple things. You see some of the moves that you see in their Revenge of the Sith fight, and then you see stuff that happens in their first encounter on episode 3. You see the same type of stuff happening. Anakin dominating and says, "Admit that you've been beaten." "No, young one, I have not been beaten." Anakin comes, or Kenobi comes to the realization that it's over and tells them to get out. He hands over his saber. He leaves. There are other ways to fight. I think this is another one of those really awesome lines. It's another callback to OG original trilogy. Obi-Wan Kenobi, there are alternatives to fighting. I think that was a great line. I thought that was so good. Vader arrives. Oh wait, hold on. I skipped a whole bunch of stuff. Kenobi lets Riva know that she's not bringing Vader to him, but that he's bringing Vader to her. I thought that was really sneaky, and I think in that moment, I think Riva should have been a little bit on high alert, but Obi-Wan tries to make another deal with her, and she responds with, "What makes you think he won't see it coming?" And Kenobi says, "Because he will only seize me." Got her! Boom! You fell for the trap, Riva. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Master Jedi, got you. Tricked. And here we go, another flashback. More callbacks to their fight on Mustafar. Anakin knocks Kenobi's saber out of his hand and tells him it's over. Your need for victory blinds you, Obi-Wan tells him in response, and then Vader arrives. That's another one of those, again, it's this whole, the way they're intertwining these flashbacks into the episode, it's almost like their literal training fight back then is mirroring what is happening in this episode. And every time they show something, it's ultimately the same thing that plays out. It's an absolute mirror. The same exact thing is playing out on both sides. I think it was absolutely fantastic. Vader doing Vader kind of things. Hold on, I skipped some stuff again. I gotta stop skipping stuff. So Leia figures out that Lola's got a hacker on it transmitting and got the thing that Riva put on her and fixes Riva, fixes the doors, everything opens, and then probably one of the most epic things that we've ever seen Vader do, probably the most epic thing we've ever seen Vader do. He catches the transport as it's taking off. He catches it, pulls it down, lands it, rips the door off. Holy shit, that was so cool. And yeah, it just really goes to show how damn powerful he was and is in these moments. But it was a decoy. There was another transport on the other side, takes away, everyone takes off. And I think this is a really, really important moment where Vader is still the learner. I think it's a really important, I think it's something we could talk about later in terms of our predictions for the finale, but Obi-Wan is still the master. I think that is a brilliant piece of storytelling in terms of Anakin, Vader, and Obi-Wan's relationship and the way everything goes. We get another flashback, Obi-Wan winning the fight against Anakin with no saber. He's defending and ducking and diving, and he ends up taking Anakin's saber away from him. He tells him that he's a great warrior, but he needs to prove himself is his undoing. Until he overcomes it, a Padawan he will be. Okay, Yoda, dang. Been hanging out with Yoda a lot, huh, Obi-Wan? Talking like him? A Padawan he will still be. It's kind of funny. Vader knows Obi-Wan got him in that moment. Riva tries to sneak very poorly, tries to sneak up on Vader
And this was probably my favorite part of the entire show. He stops her in her tracks, completely toys with her, just like a scene out of The Matrix. He doesn't have a saber out. She's attacking him. He's just like moving his hands around, blocking her, boom, 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 stuffing her. And like she's going all out and he's just playing with his toy and making it look so easy. Knocks her down. He's got both, because she has the dual saber, and he snaps it. He now has 2 sabers in his hand. She's kneeling down in front of him. I 100% was anticipating a Dooku moment. Kill him. Kill him now. Too dangerous to be kept alive. I think that would have been very important. Very one of those very big moments where I fully expected him to take the sabers and just decapitate her, but she lives in that moment. She starts having her visions of Anakin killing younglings, and Vader stabs her through the stomach, reveals he knew about her all along, and reintroduces the Grand Inquisitor. I absolutely loved this moment. I don't necessarily love the line the Grand Inquisitor hits Riva with. Revenge does wonders for the will to live. It's like, I get that's like what he was telling her, but follow through on your revenge then. Vader should have killed her, and if Vader didn't kill her, Grand Inquisitor should have killed her. Like, you're gonna leave her with a line like that to leave her the possibility of getting revenge and having a will to live. I didn't like that. I'm not gonna lie. But I absolutely 1,000,000,000% loved the idea that Vader knew all along. I thought that was so good. It just goes to show how good he is. He's so smart and he's just so powerful. And I think it was just so damn good. I said it before, I would have been really upset if Riva was a spy and she was able to like accomplish a bunch of things under Vader's nose, behind his back. I think that would have been pretty weak. But the fact that he knew all along, calling her a youngling is such a holy shit moment. That had to like strike so hard. And again, it's just gonna probably build her up for more revenge. But I thought that moment was so good. I loved it. I'm wondering why he kept her around for 10 years. I mean, she did ultimately lead Vader to Kenobi. So I'm wondering if he just had that foresight that he knew at some point that she was going to provide very big dividends and be very impactful on the overall story. And then when it all happens, I'm done with you. But they leave her alive, which again, I think is horrible. I think it's bad storytelling. I'm not going to lie. She crawls over to the drop comm device because Haja dropped it while running away. And we get Bale's message in just the perfect chunks for her to hear, kid, Tatooine, child, Owen, I'm coming there. And it's like, oh my God. Like this is so crazy. So now she knows there's a child being protected on Tatooine, which she's going to find a way to heal herself. She's a human being. She got struck through the entire midsection with a lightsaber. Obviously, we've seen dark side users survive worse, but I'm not even sure how strong she is in the dark side. I don't know if she has the capabilities of a Maul, or she definitely doesn't have a multiple stomach like the Grand Inquisitor has, but I don't know. I think it just goes to show, I think she was always torn, and I think her reasons for doing things, I don't know if she ever fully committed to the dark side. I don't know. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, and considering like Qui-Gon died from a single kind of shot to the stomach, Qui-Gon's one of the strongest Jedi, and I guarantee you he's stronger than Riva. But again, it's part of the story, and we'll just gotta kind of gonna have to see where it goes, because they really left us with no choice. So we're gonna see. I still think the finale is gonna be super dope. Episode ends with Kenobi feeling something being off, and I think that's a really good sign. I think Kenobi is fully back into the Force. We saw him in this episode just whooping ass, deflecting shots, doing his thing. He was Force pushing Riva around, and the fact that he feels there's a disturbance in the Force because Riva now knows that there's a child on Tatooine with Owen,
and she had the encounter with Owen, so she knows who Owen is, and she's 1,000,000% going there. Again, I have like best case scenario and worst case scenario. Worst case scenario of this potential moment scares the living shit out of me in terms of the canon, but now she knows, and we end with a shot panning in on, or zooming in on Luke sleeping. So again, overall, I thought it was the best episode. I think it was easily the best episode. The stuff that I didn't love, I think was tolerable, and the stuff that was good, I thought was epic. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I thought it was so good. And overall, seeing Vader at that level, being able to top what he did in Rogue One was amazing. And still seeing that side of Obi-Wan, knowing him so well that he was able to use his strengths and his weaknesses against Vader. I don't think anyone else could do that. Because of the relationship with Obi-Wan, with Anakin, and the fact that they have that all that training and all that time together, I think he's the only one who could do that to Vader, outside of maybe Palpatine. But the fact that he was able to use his aggression and his desires to win and get recognition, he used all of that against Vader in this moment. And I love the way it was intertwined with the story. So good. I love when storytelling could pull that kind of stuff off. So good. Love that aspect of the show. Overall, I think this was a really good one. So I absolutely very much enjoyed this and cannot wait to see where we go in the finale. You guys have any super chats or anything like that want to pop in and get in the video? Any comments you want to share? Maul didn't die in episode 1. Yes, he did. Came back to life. Didn't he come back to life? What are my thoughts on Lucasfilm producing a Riva show? I feel like her character isn't important outside of the Kenobi show. I don't know. I mean, do we need that much more of her story? I think it was absolutely valid that Leia can plug a USB stick when her father was literally building pods at her age. Fair. You don't get the point of even finding that message? It's to drive the story. I mean, I don't think Leia should have been there in the first place. So. Just the level of convenience is a little silly. You know who I need a show about? That new guy we don't know yet. Riva will jump in the back to tank Obi-Wan used. She shouldn't even be able to get to a back to... She shouldn't have been able to even crawl to the comm device. Because Vader nor the Inquisitor should have even let her be alive when they turned their back and walked away. So let's talk about my prediction for the finale. So the fact that now Riva knows, she's obviously going to heal somehow and get to Tatooine. My best case scenario for that moment is that because Obi-Wan could feel the disturbance, he beats her there, takes her out, just like he did Maul. The moment Maul realized that Obi-Wan was there protecting a child, protecting more than himself, he killed him. Took him out. Done. So now the fact that he feels a disturbance, the best case scenario is he beats her there. They fight. He takes her out. Done. Just like he did Maul. Worst case scenario, and this could potentially be disastrous. Somehow, Riva finds Owen, somehow finds Luke, somehow finds out that Luke Skywalker, same name as Anakin Skywalker, is the son of Darth Vader. She goes to try to kill him because Anakin killed all the family that she had left, strikes a saber in front of Luke, and then, yeah. That's horrifying to me.
What would need to happen in the last episode for you to say this show is worth watching and you want there to be a second season, if there isn't one in the works already?
I don't think anything will really jack me up for a second season. I think maybe it should have been like 12 episodes, 9 episodes. But I don't know if a second season, again, like I'm so hardcore passionate about Star Wars canon. I even admit maybe too much, but I think the longer you go with this series, and again, it all depends on how this, if there's like another Vader and Obi-Wan fight, which there doesn't need to be, and we could talk about that. But if there's another fight, what's the story? What are we building to in another part of the Kenobi show? That's when we start messing, potentially, we're just in dangerous territory messing with canon. I don't know if I need a second season. I want a banger of a finale, and I'd be happy. I'll be happy with that. If this final episode comes out and is a banger, I'll be very happy. But the worst case scenario about Riva, if she strikes the saber and tries to kill Luke, and Luke's there and he witnesses this, and then Kenobi has to jump in and save him in that moment, that could be disastrous. Because one, Luke knows of Obi-Wan. He doesn't, like, when he sees Obi-Wan, he doesn't like, oh my god, like, he's like, oh, Ben, like, okay, cool. And the fact that when Obi-Wan first hands Luke Skywalker, hello, words are hard. The first time that Obi-Wan hands Luke his father's lightsaber in A New Hope, he's like, oh, what's that? He's never seen a lightsaber before. So, best case scenario, Obi-Wan beats her there, and they fight, and done. Worst case scenario, Obi-Wan doesn't beat her there, she tries to kill him, she witnesses all this stuff, and then Obi-Wan lets her leave. For some way, somehow, for some reason. Obi-Wan has to kill her if he finds out that she knows Luke is who Luke is. She better not get that saber out. And thank you, Vanessa for the $9.99. The super chats help very, very much. They are very much appreciated. And another pitch for joining the memberships. We have a movie poll going right now for Friday night's movie. So if you want to help influence what movies we watch, there's a pinned comment at the top of your chat. I don't know where I'm pointing. It's over there somewhere. Join the membership. That also helps very much. And you get perks and certain things. I would love a Qui-Gon Jinn prequel with him as a Padawan under Duke. Dude, if we could get good Qui-Gon Dooku content, that would be dope. Oh yeah, and you could give memberships, which of course is very appreciated. That's what keeps the lights on. I know that's I'm not completely joking, but it does help keep the lights on, because, you know. I want to do more of this. I'm very interested in the battle that we have going today on the YouTube channel. We published... Oh, snap! Obi-Wan Kenobi was the #1 trending video when I published it at 4 a.m. I published Stranger Things an hour and a half ago, and it's trending higher. I was interested in that battle to see which was going to do better. Stranger Things episode 4 is currently trending higher than Kenobi. Very cool. I still think Organa's dumb message is the worst thing about the episode. Surely to further the plot, why would you say where to who you're going in the person you're messaging? Yeah, well, right. Yeah. I get what you're saying. Totally. See, like, that kind of... And this is, like, where my mindset goes. Would that kind of plot device be used in a show like Breaking Bad? Or something so convenient, would that be written in Black Sails? Or early seasons of Game of Thrones? Or Better Call Saul? Or... these other shows that are so excellently written. Is that a thing? Excellently written? I just don't know if Bail Organa would be that dumb. There's a rumor that there's 10 episodes of this show. The next week's not going to be a finale. Madrinas' new flavor, French toast. Dude, the French toast is so good! It is so good. Thank you, Vanessa, for sharing that. Seriously, though. I know we've got like 1,000 ways to support us, but there's a reason for that. Trying to go full-time on this stuff. If you guys do like coffee, cold brews, definitely go check out Madrinas. You get 20% off. It is everything that I've had there has been delicious. They've got like this cool little quiz that you could fill out if you're not sure which ones you want to get, but there's so many good flavors. It's all delicious. I'm hard selling the shit today. Exclamation point Star Wars, my YouTube channel. All things Star Wars. I think I've decided on a new name. As much as I love Flying Solo as the channel name, if you search Flying Solo on YouTube, there's probably 1,000 Flying Solo channels. But the winner of our naming contest, Corey, I think I'm going to name it Sticking with Star Wars. STIKKING. You are influenced by Nerdrotics and Heel vs. Babyface. This is better than most Star Wars. The original trilogy has 1,000 plot. Who the fuck are they? How am I influenced by people I don't know? What are you talking about? And look, if I watched the original trilogy the original trilogy can't have plot holes because it was the first content that was created. The prequels created plot holes, not the original trilogy. One there. And don't give me this nonsense about Luke and Leia kissing. You only know that as an audience member, that's weird. There's not 10 episodes, I promise. But seriously, Andy, are those good creators? I'll go support them. Since you think I'm being influenced by them. You should have gone with Forever Solo. You can't drink caffeine. There's caffeine-free stuff, I think. I mean, when A New Hope, Star Wars came out, obviously things were, you couldn't predict the future and see, like, in its time, in the 70s, Star Wars was so impactful and revolutionary in the world. George was taking this crazy risk making this weird space opera. And yeah. I mean, but again, like, as the audience, watching Luke and Leia kiss, it's weird. Yes. But they don't know their brother and sister. Like, that's one of those things where it's like, put yourself in their situation. They're both young. They're both attractive. They both went through all this crazy shit. You got, like, this other old guy, Han Solo, who's there trying to, like, compete with you. Like, yeah, like, the kiss happened. Big deal. But, I mean, I don't think there's many flaws. I think George created his own story flaws in the prequels. And if I reacted to the prequel, if you saw my first ever live reaction right now to the prequels, I'd call that shit out too. Should start a Middle Earth. I don't know enough. I love Lord of the Rings. I don't know if I even have Star Wars knowledge. I don't have passion for Lord of the Rings like I have for Star Wars. And honestly, I don't think I know enough about Lord of the Rings. So, did you need to call him Han old? Well, I mean, he's older than them. Are you talking about the No, I'm not talking about midichlorians. Stop it. Leia should have kissed Chewbacca. That would have been funny. That would have been actually pretty funny. Chewie gets no love. TikTok has already done the counting errors and mistakes of original trilogy. What's another one? I mean, if they would have just, like, taken a spaceship and flew it through the Death Star at light speed, would have solved a lot of their problems. I don't think the newer Star Wars movie, Dune, gets enough credit. It doesn't. Dune is definitely a top 5 Star Wars movie. It's so good. I like to learn. I want to hear what other people critique about Star Wars. But I think it's funny that just because I'm sitting here critiquing the current product doesn't mean I didn't have critiques of the old product. You just never saw my reactions to it. We've never had these discussions before. So it's like, don't assume. I love the prequels. I think the prequels are awesome in terms of the story they're telling. Pretty much everything else about the prequels is not good. You do have the passion, that's all you need. The knowledge is not necessarily from genuine reactors. This is coming from a hardcore Tolkien fan who reads everything 100 times. I mean, it's my favorite content of all time. Only Empire is above reproach. I mean, again, it was brought up earlier. Like, watching Ewoks bonk stormtroopers on the head and basically killing them is absolutely absurd. 100%. It's ridiculous. But don't forget that Ewoks also eat people. They are savages. They were gonna cook Han and Luke and eat them. The dialogue in the prequels is very bad. They were there for toys, 100%, yeah. Originally, it was supposed to be Wookiees. Now, if a Wookiee bonks you on the head, you dying. I'm cool with that. Hell yeah. Yeah, like they had Han like strapped up like a turkey or something. Like he's gonna friggin' go roast a turkey. I've read Catalyst. I've read the first book of the Thrawn, like the original Thrawn novel. My reading or listening has been on the decline lately. Ewoks aren't known for ripping your arms out of their sockets when they lose. No, they're just gonna cook you and eat you. Hey, Jack Bull. I loved the Force blocking of the lightsaber. I remember when Rey and Kylo did it to each other and thought, why no one else does this? The Kira comics with Leia and Maul are amazing. I have not read the Aftermath novels, no. What do you expect from Taika Waititi's Star Wars film that's rumored to come out next? Is it really rumored? I wouldn't expect that next year, right? Is that what they're saying, next year? Yeah, Ewoks are cannibals. Well, I don't know if they could be considered Isn't the definition of cannibal? Again, I'm gonna learn this right now. What is the official definition of a cannibal? Isn't that a person who eats other, like human that eats humans? Consuming another individual to say, yeah, they're not cannibals. They just eat meat. They're carnivores. Yeah. They just eat humans. What do I expect from Taika Waititi? I expect a very bright, colorful, oddly humor type of writing with lots of action. He's very hit or miss for me. But I'm excited for the breath of fresh air. Ewoks are pretty, but they're like this big. I could like hold one in my hand, like right here. A giant error was Leia remembering Padme, and that's not a flaw in the original trilogy, though. That's a flaw created by the prequels. George created the flaw in the prequel. That doesn't mean that it's a hole in the original trilogy. The original trilogy came first. That's why it's the original trilogy. If the original trilogy came out after the prequels, and it doesn't matter what order you watch them in, the original trilogy came first. George told his story backwards. I think on purpose. That is not a hole in the original trilogy. That is a hole in the prequels. Would you not say Luke hiding in plain sight according to the original trilogy is a massive hole? I wouldn't really consider Tatooine in plain sight. It's a planet that is not governed by the Empire. It's on the Outer Rim. Just because we see it all the time in every friggin' piece of fucking Star Wars content. Get away from the desert planets, please. It doesn't mean that he's out in plain sight. If they do a good job putting a bow on this finale, I'm perfectly fine with this being one season. And only 3 people know who Luke and Leia are. How is that? How is that? How is that a flaw in the original trilogy? I'm sick. Thanks, Cody. See, I like playing this game. I think this is a fun game. Technically speaking, if George creates a flaw or a hole, is it really a hole? Yes, 100%. Just because he's the creator doesn't mean it's not a flaw. There's ways around certain things, like the Leia thing. Leia remembering her mom. The fact that she's Anakin's daughter. I 1,000,000% have no problem with her potentially having visions of Padme. And her thinking those visions were from her childhood. I think that's perfectly fine. I think that makes total sense. But yes, just because the creator is the one who created the plot hole doesn't mean it's not. It's absolutely a plot hole. 1,000,000%. This is a fun game. I like this. What's for movie night? It's on Friday night. And the poll is active if you wanted to go vote. Members get to vote on the movie. Let's see. I'll give you an update right now. The Northman is winning by 10%. False memories are fine. I mean, as long as there's a track record of that happening within the family. The Death Star's attack on the Rebel base is delayed because they have to travel around a planet and fire upon the moon they are hired on. Is that a plot hole? I think that level of convenience makes sense. I think it is Leilana. I don't know who Tara Sanoob is, no. It's on Peacock. There might be free trials on Peacock. We better see Qui-Gon before the end. Why not travel instantly from where they can fire? I have a lot of favorite Star Wars characters. Luke, Anakin, Vader, Maul, Obi-Wan, Mace Windu is fucking dope. Young Han Solo is fantastic. I mean, I love Leia. I think she's an amazing character. If I had to pick one, I would pick Luke Skywalker. That's why I fight for him so hard. I've never seen Star Trek ever in my life. Star Trek wasn't a thing in my family. Star Wars was huge in my family when I was a kid. Of course George made stuff. That's what creators do. Part of the problem with the prequels is George was doing all of it. He was writing and directing, which, as in my opinion, does not create a great combo. If we got the context for Luke and the Last Jedi, I think it would be fine. I agree. I say that in my video. I don't have the problem with what Luke becomes in The Last Jedi. My problem is how we got there. I'm not forced. I don't really force anything on my kids.
I'll try to show them Star Wars here and there. They're not that interested in it. I mean, they know who all the characters are. Jack, you watched my video, huh? The fact that we don't see it is the issue. 1,000,000%. Visual storytelling when you're going to take... And I said this in my episode 4 recap for this. The reason why the Obi-Wan being broken works versus Luke is the last time we see Luke, he's smiling, happy, he's triumphant, they're partying, they're celebrating, he's smiling. The next time we see him, he's ready to jump off a cliff and end the Jedi. Like, you gotta show it. That's my whole issue. It has nothing to do... Characters can change. 100%. But when you're gonna change someone like Luke Skywalker, you can't just show... You can't have a Han Solo who obviously is very close with Luke, but clearly wasn't there because he's talking about rumors. Rumors say he went to go do this. And then show a weak flashback of just destroyed land. And be like, oh, that's why Luke wants to die and be a hermit and disconnect and, oh, okay, that's fine, that works. No, for me, that doesn't work. Not even close to enough. The worst part about the sequels is the regression of the main characters. Han went back to drug smuggling, Luke an emotional and doubtful person, and Leia back to a single-minded general. I mean... It was hard to do Leia justice in the sequels for obvious reasons. I mean, obviously, they didn't do enough to hash out Luke's character, in my opinion. I don't have a problem with the idea of Han becoming a smuggler when shit hit the fan. They even said it in The Force Awakens. Yeah, like they just went back to what they know best. I mean, you can share your take, Miles. It's a safe place. And if anyone says anything stupid, we'll ban them. And of course, I'll let you know what I think. I don't compare Star Trek and Star Wars. I'm a fan of both. How do you feel about Reva knowing about Luke? Potentially hate it. I potentially hate it. Passionately. I potentially hate it. But we'll see what happens. I have a best case and a worst case scenario on how that situation could play out. My best case scenario, I'll be fine. Worst case scenario, I might get up and walk away. You don't think the character arc of Vader is done well in the original trilogy? He was evil the whole time until the last 15 minutes. Go watch him again. That's all I'll say. The thing about Vader is that there's always been conflict inside him. There's always been something there. He just doesn't show it to anybody. And the only people who could even give him a smidge of feeling that is Obi-Wan Kenobi and his son, Luke Skywalker. Luke felt him. That's how I feel. I think the story for that is perfectly fine for me. It's his son. He wouldn't have done that for Joe Schmo's
Jedi guy. That's his son. Ahsoka. I mean, you see it with Ahsoka too in Rebels. Yes, I always forget about Ahsoka. You see him have that moment with Ahsoka. Vader is an extremely flawed and conflicted. It's not one of those things that needs to be shown. I think that's a different scenario than Luke. They don't show it. People always say show, don't tell. It's apples and oranges. Do you watch Blind? I don't have time to watch anything, to be honest. Because it's the beginning, this isn't like one of those things that we have a 30-year established story with a certain character. This is a brand new character that's being hashed out through a trilogy. And the moment you introduce someone's child, and I could feel this as a parent, you do things for your kid that you don't do for anyone else. And the fact that in the later content, it just confirms this idea. Like, even Palpatine calls him out on it. Palpatine he's like, my son is with them. Funny how I didn't feel it. It's like a bread trail that you're following with the introduction of a character. If Star Wars started with Luke in episode, well, I guess he starts in episode 8. If the saga started there, completely different opinion about the situation, because there'd be no base for the character to ruin. We're talking about a character that's developing through a trilogy. Thanks, Jake. Appreciate that. I mean, the Blind Way is awesome. I do love them. He didn't want to kill Pal from the start. That wasn't his plan. The writing is still bad. I'm taking the good parts of flashbacks and Vader pulling the ship down. Just not happy with the show. I mean, there's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad throughout the entire show. Oh, you were answering someone else. Hayden said in a recent interview that Anakin was always an underlying factor in Vader's head. Plus, Vader wanted to kill the Emperor from the jump for lying about... No. I think Reva would have been far better introduced in another show. This one's too high stakes, Kenobi and Vader. I could see that. The thing about Vader, Anakin never wanted to officially turn. That was never his intention. He was manipulated by a far more powerful being. There's no high stakes in this show set before original trilogy. I mean, there's ways to create high stakes, they're just not doing it. Vader cares about bringing back Padme and finding Obi-Wan. You strongly believe the rest are fake or worthless? Dang, that's harsh. But thank you for watching us. Appreciate that. Vader was always a flawed character who always fought with this idea. And the moment you introduce his son, I think it all changes. Dear Billy did slap hard. Well, you know why The Mandalorian works, right? There's no legacy characters for fans like me to get upset about. They're not... I mean, they're within the canon world, but they're not... As of now, they haven't really touched anything that's important enough for people to outrage. So we're just enjoying it. As they say, just enjoy it. I will never be someone that just enjoys it. That's not how I enjoy content. YouTubers out there have already planned their hate on Mandalorian, which is how they go in to try to influence folks. Interesting. See, I think that's part of the reason why I'm going with the new channel name, Sticking with Star Wars, because it has like the double meaning of sticking, like sticker, like the sticker fam. But no matter what, I'm gonna stick through it. Mando has better writing and directing. True, but it's also not as trust me, if there was a legacy character in The Mandalorian, like a real like the fact that we're getting like Clone Wars and Rebels content, people are going to start getting upset. People's opinions are going to start shifting if they... Like, I've seen rants about the Darksaber. Just wait. The Mandalorian works so well. Yeah, and it was, and Luke in The Mandalorian, it was... People complained about that. People definitely complained. But, like, they're not the focal point. There's no issues. They're just barely there. If Boba was in The Mandalorian all the time, people would have their problems. The focal point of the story is Grogu and Din. That's the core of the story. Boba was an awful show. Awful show. Thanks, Jack. Appreciate it. It was OT fans hating on prequels. Baby Yoda's a hint of a like... No, he's not. He's a completely different character. Just because he's the same species. He is his own character. We'll be tired soon of deepfake Luke. I mean, that kind of happened a little bit with me in the Boba Fett show. There's no emotion. Like, there's no feeling. Like, it feels like there's no one, like, you're like, is that Luke? Is that really, is there a person there? Like, when you do too much deepfake, it looks fake. I'd rather them hire Sebastian Stan or something like that. The Mando deepfake was so quick, there's no impact. It was just like one quick scene. Luke had like a bunch of dialogue in Boba Fett, and it just felt weird. My opinions of the prequels, I love them. I think when you strip them down, the core of the story is fantastic. I think Phantom Menace is 4th worst on my list. No, 5th worst on my list. Attack of the Clones is 4th worst. Revenge of the Sith is number 4. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about Better Call Saul right now. Just in case anyone's not caught up. This episode had a different writer. Oh. I mean, my opinions of things shift a lot as time goes. Like, when I exited The Last Jedi, my feelings were a lot different than they are today. I think I saw The Last Jedi like 4 times in theater. I hate the idea of holding out on something till the last episode. That's... Congrats on a $250,000. Thank you, Paul T. Paul Sura, voice of the channel. Do I have anything good to play? Oh, this is a good... No, that's me. I mean, this is Paul.
Warning, Solo sucks rant.
Paul Sura. Thanks, dude. Yeah, like, Season 3 of Mandalorian is going to enter a territory where we're messing with canon Star Wars. My real feelings of Star Wars or Solo? I mean, it's simple. I think it's the worst Star Wars movie ever created. I think it's a fun movie, but I think it's the worst one. Just barely beats The Last Jedi as my least favorite Star Wars movie. Bad Batch Season 2, hell yeah. We're probably going to do watch-alongs for that. Either here or on the Star... If I could get the Star Wars channel monetized, which I don't think is going to happen. I still need so many subs and so many watch hours on my Star Wars channel. Guys, you're here watching this. Go watch the Star Wars channel. Solo is by far the best Disney movie. The fuck? You spelled worst wrong. First of all, Rogue One is the best Disney Star Wars movie. Does it beat The Mist? I'll watch Solo 100 times out of 100 before I watch. It has no canon issues? What? Solo has no canon issues? Easy to hate on Solo. It has no canon issues. The sequel trilogy is not close to Solo. Everything about Solo is one big giant canon issue. Solo's main canon issue is that it wasn't shot out of one. So you're perfectly fine. This is the live channel. This is where we do all of our live streaming. The Star Wars channel, I'm gonna I'll take the recap that I did earlier. Solo is a lot of fun. It's just a bad Star Wars movie. I'm gonna take what I did earlier, cut it down, upload it to that channel. Solo aging very well, to be honest. Trends often now. So, Han Solo getting his name the way that he did. Han Solo showing that he could speak Wookiee and then never doing it ever again. Lando Calrissian is a cheater. They turned him into a cheater. He's a cheater. He cheats at cards. He's not a good card player. He's a cheater. That absolutely destroys the character. The Kessel Run, lame as fuck. Not even close to what it should have been. What else? Did I mention how Han Solo got his name? Pretty terrible. The whole movie was created for a pair of dice.
that have zero impact on any other piece of storytelling in the entire Star Wars world until episode 9. No, episode 8. There are so many problems with Solo. I don't know much about the High Republic. It is exclamation point. Well, exclamation point Star Wars. Lando banging his robot, whatever. Droids fighting for their personal freedoms. It's not about being outnumbered, about being honest about your opinion. Steve just stands his points no matter if everyone else loves it. Wait, what? You'll be outnumbered now? Outnumbered by who? Again, if you like Solo, cool. But I'm gonna express, like, you can't say something like it's a fact when the fact is wrong. Saying that Solo has no issues in canon is just a false statement. I was on the bandwagon. What bandwagon? Huh? What bandwagon was I riding? Do you want to see movies take place in a time period we haven't? Yes! 1,000,000,000%. Don't feel bad about liking Solo. You could like it. Again, I've put a lot of thought into my reasons why I'd like and don't like things. Don't ever feel bad for having a different opinion than someone else, ever. No matter what anyone ever says. Do not let anyone else's opinion make you feel weird or bad or off or anything. If you like something, you like it. If you learn something new that bugs you and your opinion shifts, that's different. The sequels have far more... Yeah, I mean, obviously you're new here. I tear the sequels apart. Constantly. The Maul cameo was dope, though. Yeah, sure, it was dope, but what has happened since? This is part of my issue with Solo, is like they introduced a couple pretty intriguing things. The Maul-Kira relationship, I even say it in my intro. I'm more intrigued with the Maul-Kira relationship than anything else. But they haven't done anything with it yet. I would love to learn more about that relationship. Infant's Nest. Where the fuck is she? Can we get some Infant's Nest? Is she gonna be in the Andor show? Because she better be. Wait. Does that timeline make sense? Yes, the timeline makes sense. I mean, Andor's another one of those things where it's going to be hard to get hyped for it just because it's like, how much do we care about a character? Like, again, you're going to fall into the same problem where it's like, why do I care about Andor? We kind of know what happens to him, but I think they're going to be creative with the writing. Visually, like, that trailer looked awesome. So I think it's going to give us a different perspective on Star Wars, which I think is going to be really cool. As someone who loved Rogue One so much, I'm surprised I don't feel too high for Andor. Oh yeah, that's why I was saying that. Visions, I only got through like 3 episodes of Visions. It was cool. One of the episodes, I think it was like episode 2, was really silly. It's like this is the kind of stuff that I think about. This is how my brain critiques things. So within the first opening scene of Solo, what do they show us? These 2 golden dice, right? They're so important to Han Solo, or just Han. He doesn't even have a last name at the beginning. These dice are so important
He literally takes them everywhere he goes. He makes a point. He gives it to Kira, the person that he loves more than anything. These will protect you, keep you safe. It's one of those things that was implemented that's so valuable and important to him. You see it in the original trilogy. You see them dangling there in, I want to say, A New Hope. Han is in the Falcon the whole time up until Empire Strikes Back, or up until the point of Return of the Jedi, where he needs to give Lando the Falcon back, and he's taking an Imperial ship to go do his mission. The reason why the dice don't work, don't you think he'd want to take those with him? Take them off the Falcon? Take him with him to have good luck on his mission? Put it on this fucking Imperial ship? Yeah, I think so. And this idea that Han Solo can speak Wookiee, I always forget what their language is called. The fact that, like, he does it once, and I don't know, I'm watching Empire Strikes Back, and Han's about to go down into the carbon freeze, and Chewie's freaking out, as he should, because they're life partners, they're best friends, they are literally hip to hip, and Chewie's freaking out. Don't you think maybe in that moment it would have been even more emotional and more touching if Han said something to Chewie in his language to calm him down? I don't know. That's the kind of shit I think about. That's why it's hard to introduce things in a prequel when it's never been introduced in the later content. That's my problem. The way Han Solo gets his name. He gets it from an Imperial. Besides the fact that it's just stupid how he gets it. He's standing there by himself. Oh, your name's Solo. Oh, you're alone. You're Solo. Okay. Regardless of how dumb that is, the fact that Han Solo keeps a name given to him by an Imperial, the fact that he keeps it when he's running jobs against the Empire, that name is on the books for the Empire. He is a smuggler. His job is a smuggler. He keeps the name, and not only does he keep it, but he passes it on to his son. No, that's stupid. That's bad writing. Thanks, Oscar. That's it's not just, I'm not gonna just be like, oh, Han got his name because he was alone, that's dumb. Like, yes, it is. But here's why. I will back it up and support why I don't like it. If you like that, if that doesn't bother you, cool, that's fine. That's what's so great about opinions. And it kind of sucks that Solo in Legends, from my knowledge, was like a really powerful and influential and important name. You know. Deadpool, well, that's lazy writing. I mean, or that's absolutely brilliant writing. His buddy and basically like this organizer of the entire like this kill mob squad put money that his friend was gonna die in the Deadpool. I think that's fucking awesome. You forgot how Solo got his name? How could you forget? And don't even get me started on the whole Lando thing, which I think might be the worst part of Solo. The fact that Lando Calrissian had a card up his sleeve this whole time. That's why he was good. It wasn't his charisma or his personality or his ability to just influence people. That's not why he was a good card player. He was a good sabacc player because he cheated. He's a cheater. Donald Glover killed it. He was so good. But in terms of the writing for a character, that's flaw. That's a fucking huge flaw. Boys Season 3, it's awesome. The Boys is always awesome. Do you think Tala was smashing her droid like Lando? I don't know. It's kind of a personal question. Lando loves the bot. Lando loves everybody. Top 5 films. Episode 4, Episode 5, Solo, Rogue One, Episode 6. You should change that to top 5 favorite. Because those aren't the top. Those aren't the top of anything. I always talk about the big difference between favorite and best. Those are two very different things. Unless you're a accredited film critic, determining on what's best holds no water. Empire, Revenge, Last Jedi. Fired? Old Republic era movie? Sure. Hello? Stream elements?
Just want to say I love you guys. Can't wait for July, since we are getting both Volume 2 of Stranger Things and Better Call Saul. The Walking Dead as well, although I don't know when that comes out.
Thank you, Jake. Correct. I did say you could share your... I didn't say there wouldn't be any, ramifications for your opinion. Credited film critic has no superior right over me. Yeah, they do. To claim if something is better? Yes. They are a professional in their field. They have every right to tell me, just some guy who went to broadcast journalism school, to say if a piece of media is better. Yes. Absolutely they do. Because they could break down camera shots, dialogue, writing, just everything that goes into cinematography and acting. All of it can be broken down professionally. You can say what you like better all you want. I think that's two different things. I mean, art is subjective. That's why better versus favorite are different. Are you classing YouTubers as critics? I'm not a critic. I'm big wrong. Okay. So why is Siskel and Ebert such highly credited with their scores, and I'm not? I could come out and give that movie's 5 out of 10, based off of what? The era of the critics are done, my dude. No, they're not. Of course not. There's people still in film school learning. But they were credible. That's important. It's like, what's an example? I've watched baseball my whole life. I should definitely not get a Rotten Tomatoes certification. Oh, you're a critic defender. So I played baseball my whole life. I've watched it my whole life. It's part of my current normal job. Does that mean because I could sit on my couch at home and criticize, oh, this team should have done that. They did that wrong. They should have done... That doesn't make me a good coach. I can't go manage the Dodgers tomorrow. There's levels to things. Red Letter Media, I mean, that's satire, isn't it? They're amazing. The critics praise Solo? Is that true? What's the best place for critic reviews? Does Rotten Tomato have like... Do they have like official like critic reviews? What's the best place for critic reviews? Opinions and like as much as it's hard, like as someone who went to film school, it's hard to critique film and television. None is the point, Steven. No critic review is acceptable now. Don't yell at me. Oh, now you're just taking it to a place that doesn't... That's where the conversation ends. Solo, a Star Wars story. So as an example, it gets a 69% review system and a 64% audience score. I wouldn't really call that good. What about IMDb? Solo, a Star Wars story. Or does it list the critic reviews? Critic review. Oh, it doesn't give an overall rating. But like, here's an example. So like, I watched John Campea. He has far more credentials to say if a movie is good or bad than I do. IMDb gives overall rating. Yeah, that doesn't split it up, right? So IMDb gives Solo a 6.9. I mean, you're still graduating with a 6.9. So that's at least positive in its favor. I still want to do a... No, everyone is not a professional critic now. That's the thing. They're not. Chris Stuckman, he's great. I'm watching the Solo trailer right now on IMDb. God, what a dumb movie. I mean, I guess you could claim you're anything you... I'm a professional baseball player then. Just because people say it doesn't mean it's true. Ray Skywalker. Oh wait, I can't go there. Ironically, I think Solo's a fun movie. Call it like... Duo. Because Han and Chewie. Most people can't even truly define what cinematography means, so... They just throw around a bunch of buzzwords. But there are people in this world who are far more credited than the average film watcher who went to school studying the breakdown of film and knows how to critique it properly. I feel like Bane in The Dark Knight Rises. I was the one who said, tell us your real feelings on Solo, Steve, and now I'm here, like... The fire rises. Solo or Book of Boba Fett? Sleep? I mean, saying something like, I think a significant portion of critics are useless now. I mean, you're obviously watching the wrong people. I go purely off enjoyment is not the same. That's why I separate the two. That's why I say Return of the Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie. Empire Strikes Back is better. Book of Boba Fett was not fun. I don't know. Watching a Rancor wreak havoc through a town was fun. I heard that there's going to be a Qui-Gon segment for Tales of the Jedi. How long have I been live? Oh shit, 2 hours, 13 minutes. I'm gonna wrap this up soon. Jabba the Hutt show, pass. I say the same thing, Miles. Breaking Bad is the best show I've ever seen. But Game of Thrones is my favorite. I was really hoping Obi-Wan Kenobi would be my favorite. But it's not. I try to sell, I try to talk about it as much as I can. Best versus favorite are two very different things. I honestly don't think there's a debate between Empire and Jedi in terms of which movie is better. Sports are super subjective. If you're talking about a person in decision making, playing, sure. My analogy earlier was about coaching. You have to be a chef to know how to cook something properly, though. It's a different thing. Critics don't necessarily know how to Ebert probably can't. I don't know a lot about his background, so what I say right now is just an example. I don't know if Ebert could direct a movie, but he knows how to break it down. Broke it down.
Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad? Which is your favorite?
It's still Breaking Bad. I gotta see how Better Call Saul wraps up before I could enter BCS into any of those conversations. I saw that Stuckman's producing a movie or directing a movie. That's awesome. We'll see how good it is. You can't say that it's better yet. There's still, 6 episodes? But I think it's definitely on its way to being better. Ahsoka's gonna be amazing. I hope so. That was a fun stream, y'all. I hope you guys don't get too, thrown off by my enthusiasm. Thanks, Jake, for the 5, by the way. You're doing a great job, Miles. You ain't going nowhere. My solo agenda? What's my solo agenda? I tell people to go watch it. Like, what's my agenda? I just don't like the movie. As a Star Wars movie. It's a weird agenda. My agenda is to always tell people to go find out for yourself if you like something or not. That's my agenda. My agenda is to show people that we can have discussions about this stuff without me spewing insults at you. My agenda is to show you that you could type whatever the fuck you want in this chat for the most part, and I'll probably read it if I see it, and then we can talk about it. I called you a bad... I would never call anyone a bad name. Oh, you were giving me a compliment? Oh. Oopsie. Damn it, Perry. My opinion of Kathleen Kennedy's leadership at Lucasfilm? I'll just answer that by answering your question with a question. What leadership? That's all I'll say. I'm generally a fan of shaky cam in certain moments, but there's been too much of it, and I think it kind of does make it kind of feel cheap. Yeah. I beat you to it. If Kathleen Kennedy was a true leader in the Star Wars space, then she would have been able to put JJ and Ryan on the same page to tell a cohesive story with a point A and a point B, and they would have worked together to get to that beginning and end. Dude, it's been hard as hell to find good thumbnails for this show. The lighting has been horrible because it's very dark and like the lightsabers don't help. And so much shaky cam. It's been so hard finding a good thumbnail. 100%. I felt bad about my thumbnail today, so I changed it. Even though I don't think it was that big of a spoiler. But you're so sad that they're starting to connect the sequels. Don't let that make you sad. The sequels ain't going nowhere. They're only gonna expand even more on them. Yeah, the thumbnail was a little spoilery this morning when I posted it, but I changed it. As soon as I saw 2 comments, like, quickly, I was like, let's change it. I don't want to be responsible for spoiling anything for anyone. They need to be... No. If they use the world between worlds to bring icons back to Star Wars, I'm going to be so disappointed. I used a shot of Anakin in the flashback. No. By the way, guys, if you ever see something or hear something, even on a posted reaction, clip it. We have a clips channel on Discord. You could share it, and if I say something silly, you could clip it out of context and make fun of me for it, if you want. I mean, it's ultimately my fault. You picked it, and then I went with it. I did question it at first. But it was also 4 in the morning, so I probably wasn't thinking that straight. It was definitely my fault. But it is like 1,000 degrees in this office. I'm gonna go turn these damn lights off. We go get some rest. Maybe I'll find some time to edit this and post it on the new channel. Yeah, it was... Only got a couple comments, it's fine. Feel free to go to Nikki Steve React and... Never mind, don't do that. See you guys Friday here live for movie night. It looks like we're going to be watching a Viking flick, so that should be fun. Thanks, y'all. See you guys later.